Hello, Jesse McDougall here. First book review of 2018, Profit First. This book was recommended to a friend of mine who has been a fellow entrepreneur for about 8 years now. I think I'm entering my 5th year and just recovering from a pretty bad month. So that sucks. I haven't had this bad of a month in a long time, and it sucks. It really sucks. So you learn what went wrong and how to correct it going forward. Anyways, profit first. So lots of good gold in here. The biggest summary for this is I find it gives you structure. So it's one of my core values that once you get money in the world of entrepreneurship, you have to work twice as hard to protect those profits and protect that money. And so that kind of, I ran into that about 2 years ago, and I've been digging myself out of a hole for 2 years. Needless to say, I'm also out of the hole, but the fight's not over. So very good structure to how to manage your money, and they put it in basically like a system. You set up multiple bank accounts for certain percentages, and the percentages are based on where your business stands at. And the author of this book has assessed thousands of companies. They got the knowledge from those companies applied to here, so the system works. I'm implementing the system. So the biggest thing from here, if you're not, depending on what your skill set is, right? Everyone has a different skill set. For me personally, my education, white collar skill set is accounting and cash flow management and back office support systems. So that's kind of one of my strong suits. What this book really highlighted, but a lot of times entrepreneurs, they're more sales guys, they're more people guys, right? I haven't done the sales part of the process yet. So that really came out here, highlighted to me that, get those sales, bro. And I look forward to that journey. It's a bit scary, I will admit, doing something we haven't done before, but that's part of the process. The next thing I like in this book is he recommends a buddy system so that you can follow the profit system together. And when you have a buddy system, you're obviously that much more accountable. And I've done, I think, two sessions so far with my buddy, and it's been good. It's been good. Just for my personal path, I'm kind of like a solo entrepreneur. I'm like a one-man show, kind of the boss, which is, cool as it is. But it's definitely tough when you're alone, when you're a solopreneur. There's definitely a normal part of the process where you go through a stage of isolation. Because for me to make more money and more profits, I just basically need to work here in this office. And it's really weird. So I don't really have... For me to leave, I live in Vancouver, so for me to leave my house, it's really to go spend money. So now it's going to be for me to leave the house, it's good to go to a sales meeting and try to close a deal. So let me get into the book here. It looks like this pause. Okay, there we go. We're back. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly run through this book. That's kind of like my Cole's notes of what I have to say about the book. So if you want to pause it here, definitely recommend you buy this book. Definitely for entrepreneurs. If you're an accountant professional, you can. He's got the professional. You can become like an approved blah 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 person to get you more clients for your accounting business or consulting business. That's one option I'll think about down the road. But one of the things I've learned from this book and my current experience is that I need more support before I can grow my accounting business. I don't really want to grow the accounting business in terms of me doing the work. I love meeting with business owners and stuff like that. Okay, let's get in here. This book wasn't too long. It's fairly basic, so I say this is if you got a business degree and all that, it's pretty basic, but what's cool in here, it's a lot of real world knowledge, like the School of Hard Knocks, some basic stuff, and a lot of stuff that you read in here, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, you know it, but you're not doing it. Knowing and doing are two completely different things. recommends you to open up 2 non-tempting accounts where you won't even know the money's there, and that's kind of cool. I kind of found my bank account, like it says in here too, you want to reward when you buy something and you feel instant gratification, you want to switch up your habit, so when you're saving money you get gratification, and I'm starting to see that now with a couple of my accounts growing, and that's cool. I like that. So set up 2 no temptation accounts, because when something isn't available to consume, you don't consume it. In North America, our society is mostly a consumerism society, which I don't like. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm kind of like a earthy, spiritual kind of guy. Get your business profit ready. Okay, I won't tell you that. This is true. So this book is really painful. Like, even if you have a $5 million company or a $10 million company, like, this book is very, 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 very valuable. And it brings out some cold, hard truths. I'm a man that I deal with all the issues. I deal with them head on. I try my best not to avoid issues or whatever. The sooner you accept the truth about your business, the faster you can do something about it. And so I got to enter sales mode. That's what I got to do. I was able to focus on the big obstacles blocking my path rather than put out countless fires. And that's what I've been doing for over 10 years. I just put out fires. And I try to, that's when I'm working with other people. But the last year and a half, it's been all my own. So now I'm juggling what I'm used to doing and what I need to do moving forward. So it's a pretty interesting process. It is challenging. And it's the emotional challenge for me that I struggle with a lot, and a lot of people do, because he says here, we are emotional beasts, not logical beasts. Especially when it comes to money, people are emotional, not always logical. Profit first triggers growth. The book, this whole book is geared to trigger growth for your business, which in turn is yourself. Profit first triggers growth because it requires us to focus, streamline, and innovate. But every confirmation is exciting. Oh wow! I read this book in pretty quick. This was. When a company is doing less than $250,000 revenue, it typically has 1 employee, you. Many freelancers at this stage, and if they elect to stay, they should be able to increase profits and pay percentages even more than what I have listed, because they don't have expensive employees or need to incur the expenses necessary to support multiple employees. So if you don't make $250 a year in revenue, so for the first 250, it's really 1 employee. I've got 3 employees, but you got to remember, I'm not employing North American people at North American salaries. I have like people overseas that don't really get paid a lot of money in terms of the way we think of things, but in their country they can buy food and pay their bills. And so currently I employ people in Venezuela and India. I've employed people all over the world, literally all over the world. But it's enough for them. The person in India, they're doing it more for a chance to work with me, more than the money. But the people in Venezuela, it's very tough times right there. So they're lucky to even have a job. So they're very grateful. And when the company does reach targets, I will be bonusing, but we're not there yet. And I'm not a golden carrot kind of guy. I will actually bonus people. Taxes. You got to pay taxes. It's a sign of a healthy business. As painful as it is, it's a sign you got to pay taxes. You're making money, bro. One of the big things I've seen commonly, like for 10 years, is people. I get phone calls from my friends that are business owners and they need an accountant to talk to, and they owe a bunch of money because they didn't pay the money for their taxes. Or they set aside money for their taxes in 60 G's they owe, and that's a lot to deal with. So, healthy business is paying taxes. Chief among these principles was frugality. So I'm Scottish, being frugal kind of comes with the territory. Frugal is not cheap, okay? I made it my decision to get what I needed for my business on the cheap and took pride in doing so. The problem was I shouldn't have been spending anything on some of those light items. I didn't really need an office space, and I don't really need an office space. I kind of like an office because my office feels kind of like a fishbowl. It's pretty small, and I have no real reason to leave here. So that's all good. Bad financial habits that can be difficult to break. In the early stages of building a business, you need to spend as much time as possible on the selling and doing. Systems and processes come later. And that's one thing I got to deal with, I'm going to think about, is I'm good at building systems and processes. It's just what I do. It's why I get paid good money to go do that. But apparently in my business, that's not what I should be doing right now. Interesting, very interesting. So some food for thought. Every time you make a deposit, move 1% to that account. Perfectionism kills every dream. Better to just start, and I'm guilty of being a perfectionist. Comes with my trade or whatever, but that's one of the things I've been doing, working on, is letting go over the years. For example, to get my CPA designation on the exams, these are world-class exams. If you're trying to get the right math answer, you're going to fail and you're not going to get your designation. Oftentimes, people fall into the experts, I call them, where they can just see logic. Where we're trying to get the exact right math answer. And it's cool to get everyone likes to do the puzzle and get the correct answer, but when you lose sight, if you're trying to get so precision, like get the exact answer, as opposed to like just having 80% of the general rule, move on to the next thing. But if you're stuck there trying to figure out the last 20%, yeah, that's when you lose sight of other issues that are going on. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're juggling 10 things at once, always. That's just the way of the game. Financial market overview. Oh, another great part I liked about this book was